can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. That's called insanity. Change ain't coming. Tell the people change is here. We taking what is ours. We ain't never scared. We gonna fight for our rights. Ain't no backing out. The Bahamas loving how we got this real blackout. Taking our country back, not living so hopeless. Vote for Lincoln Bain, our Bohemian Moses. A real leader coming with the vision and the plans. Let's take a stand, every Bohemian woman, child, and man. The people can't be crying and hurting and jobless. Don't be fooled, y'all know the parties that cause this. Vote for COI for a change in the office. We fighting for our rights and our natural resources. The people can't be crying and hurting and jobless. Don't be fooled, y'all know the parties that cause this. Vote for COI for the change in the office. We fighting for our rights for our natural resources. Yeah. Stand up and make a change. Yeah. For Bohemians everywhere. Make a change. We gonna make a change. Change is here. We gotta quit with tradition and let's go forward a mission to build a better Bahamas for all the children that live in. They sell our country and land and give it to all the foreigners. Keep Bohemians suppressed because they think we're not good enough. But we're making a stand, throw up a fist with a hand. Stand united as one nation under the sun. We the people fighting for the new Bahamas. We bring the facts, but they wanna bring the drama. They can go and put a sign on every corner, but the cry of the people will be louder. Stand up and make a change. For Bohemians everywhere. We gonna make a change. Change is here. Stand up and make a change. For Bohemians everywhere. We gonna make a change. Change is here.
Why'd you leave her in the cold? Whose hand was she supposed to hold? Who was there to hear her cry? Whose hands are there to wipe her eyes? Take her from this world. You took away a heart of gold. Her innocence you took away. Behind a smile was so much pain. But
Daddy.
It's a story.
A tribute to baby Bella. This was my first time seeing it. I wasn't ready for that. But good evening, Bahamas. Good evening to everyone who is tuning in. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to have a very, very interesting topic. We're going to talk about a multiple of things. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us this evening. My name is Charlotte Green, and I am the chairman of the Coalition of Independence. Today, we're going to discuss baby Bella. We're going to discuss a few other topics concerning our country. Okay, I want you all to know that, and I always say this every time I post or I come on a live, that the Coalition of Independence is here to stay. We will continue standing up for the people in this country. We will continue standing up for country. We truly believe that a change is going to come to this country, but it takes all of us to stand up for our country and each other. I heard that we had a suicide in Abaco. There are so many people hurting in this country. There are so many persons also turning a blind eye to people's pain. We must learn to love on each other, support each other, and be there for each other. Because God is love. God is love. For those who have signed up to be a part of the Coalition of Independence as members, I thank you and welcome. Welcome. This is a machinery, and this machinery needs every single part, every single person to be a part of it in order for this to run effectively. So we welcome everyone. We're going to put up the link for you to sign up to join the coalition. You just visit the website, www.coalitionofindependence.com. I'm bringing Lincoln Bean on, and he has a very, very interesting guest for you to meet this evening. Lincoln?
Good evening, Bahamas, and welcome to everyone who is here. Wow, that tribute that they did to Bella, that really knocked the wind out of me. That really touched me seeing that. I want to ask one thing of you. Yeah, you know what we have to do when we sign on. Please share this. Please share it so the Bahamian people can know what's going on. The Bahamian people can know what's happening. We're gonna have several discussions today. I think you would have seen it in our subject for this if we put it up. I want to thank you for spending your Sunday with us. We want to thank the family of Bella for continuing to fight. We want to thank you. We cannot let what happened to her go in vain. We have to continue to fight for her in this hour. We have to continue to fight for her as we continue on in this journey. So thank you for always spending your time with us, and thank you for watching and sharing after. So please share. Please come on here and share, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that your friends and family know what's happening in this country. And so that's what we've been doing. We've continued to do it. We have not really taken a break from it. Every week, we're giving you a week in review. We're letting you know what's happening in this country. And that's what we're going to continue to do, to be the watchdogs of this country. So if you really want to know what's going on, you can watch us, or you can watch the fake stuff that's going on out there. But if you want to know what's going on, you can watch us. We'll bring you up to date on some of the stuff that we picked out, and we'll allow you to show some things if you want to question us about it, because we're constantly doing investigations on many different things, and that's what this is all about. We're constantly doing investigation. We're constantly getting information from the public and from other places, and so we love having the opportunity to update you every week on what is happening, because we say it's a new day, but of course we got to see that for ourselves. Today we're going to be talking to he is right here sitting in front of me, but I'm going to introduce him in a minute. We're going to be talking to the man who allegedly destroyed the Columbus statue. We're going to be talking to him in a minute. The man who destroyed Columbus statue. I want to know what's in his head. Many people just saw the man in the video, and most of the time we misjudge people because we don't really know who they are, and so we misjudge people. And so some people who say, he's a crazy man, and he just went and did that, and we should put him in silence. So I'm going to give you an update on that. I'm going to introduce him to you and let you hear from him for yourselves. And so that's what we're going to do. We're also going to talk the truth about shock treatment. Shock treatment is a program that was going on before. It was stopped by the FNM, and it's been started again. But we need to have a discussion about the shock treatment. We need to have a discussion about that. Does it make sense? Does it work or not? What's the stats on it? Should we be spending money on that? All of those things we need to pay attention to. Also, we'll be talking about, of course, I said the battle for Baby Bella, that continues. And also the fact that the government has now said that there will be no public sexual offenders register. It's going to be on a need-to-know basis. So you need to understand how that works. I see government propagandists and people on that side saying, certain things like, oh, well, what sense is going to make to know what the person did? It's really people close to you, your relatives, who are doing it in a lot of instances. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. So be prepared for that, and we're going to say what we have to say. All right, and so we're also going to be touching on our natural resources if we have enough time. We've been trying to contact Mr. Vaughn Miller. I saw a funny meme with him as a missing person. He is a missing person, not literally, but literally. Vaughn Miller, where are you, man? We trying to call you. I'm calling you. Listen, Vaughn Miller, before election, you answered my phone calls on the first ring. Now we can't hear from you for some reason. We're gonna play, we get to it, some audio of him before election, how he was talking for the natural resources and how much money could be made from it. And now he's just disappeared. We are not going to let you get away with stealing an election by saying that we are selling dreams and then taking on some of what we were talking about with natural resources, promising it to the people, and then breaking off running. That's not going to happen. The natural resources still belong to us, and we still believe that we should benefit from it, like you believed before election. And so if you were so adamant before election, why are you not as adamant now? We're not letting this go. We know our value. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to get started. So if you're on here, make sure you've done your duty. Take a second to share this. Take a second to do so. But we're going to get started now. So sorry for the late start, but that's what we're going to be doing, a week in review on a weekly basis. So you'll be seeing me and other members of the coalition. We'll be doing that. All week we'll be investigating certain things, and we'll be bringing it to you. We're not going anywhere. So you can continue to sign up. You can come in and sign up. We welcome all of you. If you haven't signed up, please come and sign up and be a part of this movement that's changing this nation. And so we're going to have some interesting conversations today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to a man who is now before the courts because he decided to take a stand. I'm going to talk to him about that because he decided he wanted to do a certain thing. Some say it was a criminal act. Some say it was an act of bravery. Some people say he's a villain. Some people say he's a hero. But let's talk to this man. I learned something very, very young as a police officer. But sometimes if we take a second to talk to the people who we were arresting, we would have a chance to change their lives and even the lives of the people around them. There were people we just used to lock up and see them as the bad guys. When we started to make a conscious decision, when we get the shock treatment, I'm going to talk more about that. We really see what is going on in their lives and see how we could help. The smallest little thing. We were able to change some lives as police officers, and there's stories from police officers that you will never hear. Or some of us see a lot of them as bad guys, and there are some bad, but there's very few bad, in my opinion. But when you find a police officer who can go in there and find out what's going on, there are police officers who help people, who feed people, who give people a place to stay, and that stuff never makes the news. The police officers who go out of their way, to help single mothers buy food for their children in the morning. The police officers who do that. I know that for a fact. These are the stories that never make the news. These are the good people because we always focus on the bad and negative. And so I said that to say, we need to start, instead of just condemning people sitting down on our couches, just hear them out. And they could be wrong, And what they did could have been wrong. But which one of us has not done some wrong in our lives? Which one? I want to introduce you to a man who calls himself Micheal the Archangel. His real name is Shivandes or Shivandes. I don't even know how to pronounce it, so I just mangle it probably. But I call him Micheal the Archangel because I want to sound cuter. Yeah. All right? Micheal the Archangel is here with us. Please join me. Welcome him, welcome him, welcome him. They're clipping. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to the man they call Micheal the Archangel. How do you pronounce your name? Shivandes? Shivandes. Okay, but you spell it with D-A-Z, but it's still Shivandes. Okay. All right. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. This is the first time that I'm meeting you, yeah. And it is an honor to meet you. It is an honor. We decided to send some lawyers out there to go and kind of rescue you when you were going through what you were going through. You're a young man I didn't know, but I saw what you did, and I saw your heart in what you were doing. Allegedly, I should say. But what you were doing, you're not running from anything. All right. I saw the heart in what you were doing. What's your problem with Columbus and the Columbus statue?
Okay. I mean, person you can't stand up chosen accept this man, but this thought chosen children, yet you still have a statue of himself. It is against what you would call the people who you think you are, because the statue is basically the abomination towards God's children.
An abomination, that's a strong word.
Yeah, it is. The portrait where it's painted, the say that a man destroyed great people in their land, genocide, and then at the end, pull them up as a savior towards the people in their land, which is insane. Mm-hmm. Because today, somebody murders or does anything that say level that he did it to in history, we'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. Like the same thing would happen to me. Like mm-hmm. my act would seem like to be outrageous or crazy, and some people's eyes, but then some people who really want to see a change, they'll stand in the ark of righteousness. Because see, that's what we fail to teach today. We are missing righteousness. So you can say that, okay, we want to see a change, but until there's an act or a stand of righteousness, which you learn through the kingdom of God, then righteousness would somehow overbalance the law. This is what we are having up.
I can stop you right there, right? Because I wanted to let you articulate, because there were some people saying that you're crazy, that there's something wrong with you, probably on drugs, that kind of stuff. Are you crazy?
No, I passed my psychiatric evaluation.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the first things we had done, and I want to thank Donna Major for everything that she did. Anne Maria Daxon, but Donna Major was really there, standing with this young man, standing with him to get this done. And I really want to thank you as an attorney for what you did, sacrificing to help him out. So we sent for psychiatric. We had you sent for psychiatric evaluation. I think your mother said some things would encourage that. And so officially, the doctors checked you out, talked to you, interviewed you, put you to the ringer, and they come back and said, "Boy, this man ain't crazy. He's a genius." So you're not crazy. Have you been arrested before?
No, I've never. So it was a bigger stance to make you know that. That's why I was screaming.
Hold on, you are a regular Bahamian who's never been to jail?
Correct. So
never been locked up?
No. So it was a bigger stance, like that's what's all the
man, some of them people who judging you been locked up before.
It's insane. But they have to see it from my point that, it took a lot of adrenaline, being fed up with what you see happening and take it upon yourself. Like, that's a lot. Lose your freedom for your freedom. So that's something you have to be prepared to say. But I can make a stand and I can try to make a difference. But I do.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm not speaking to you, and you're not speaking based on our conversation to sway the court or public opinion in one way or another based on what you did or did not do. You're not interested in that. You're talking generally about how our system is set up, and so you are, to make it clear to anyone who might be listening, you're not trying to sway them to say you're guilty or you're innocent or anyway.
No,
right? That isn't the conversation there.
No,
all right. So there's a law that says, it talks about sub judice, and there's a law, it's an appeal code too, where you shouldn't talk about things as in the court if you're doing it to sway public opinion. That's not what he's there for. He's not hiding from anything. It is what it is, and he's not here to sway you to say that he is innocent or to say that he is guilty. That's for the court to decide. But he is here to talk about what Columbus represents, etc. So, young man, you're talking about taking a stand, and you're calling on Bahamians to really stand up and take a stand. You're a regular Bahamian, and you made up in your mind that you wanted to take a stand. I mean, why? And why not?
Because time is our youths are uneducated. The knowledge of our is needed at this time. The world marks the month, and there's things when we have here that we can survive off this world where we can mark the months of our bearings. A lot of our plants are cures for a lot of diseases, so there would be highly research what these plants are used for, down to the knowledge of the history of the land. To see if your roots are not
talk as loud as you can to make sure they can hear you.
If your roots are not deep enough to say the history of your land, then you won't know what you're fighting for. So the first thing is you have to educate yourself, because without the education of the proper knowledge of your land, esoteric knowledge of all of these hidden things, but they don't want you to know, or what was forgotten, you would have to educate yourself before you take a step forward. I have educated myself to know what I'm fighting for. So I would be able to take a stand and know that, okay, through God and what I'm trying to accomplish, it will be done. So it's just about educating the people that when they stand.
Let me just take a pause and do a mic check, because some people are saying that they can't hear you. So hopefully we can hear.
God and what I'm trying.
I think that the audio is perfect. So if you're having problems hearing, just stop the video and start it back. If you're having problems hearing, and see if that solves it, just come out of the video and start it back, because we're hearing it pretty clearly on this end. I just did a mic check to see. So if you're having a problem, now there are some people, my brother, who said that you know what happened to the Columbus statue is a criminal act. It shouldn't happen. You know, and I want to say to them, I want to say to everyone on here, and I know the camera isn't straight. We did that to try to get some sound. We tried to point it at him in a certain way to get some sound. But yeah, but just try redoing your video if your sound is bad. I see some people doing that. There are the people who said what he did is criminal, and you know, and I just want to say this to this. Someone please tell me what is the difference of what happened at the Columbus statue. I'm not saying he do nothing or he didn't do nothing. Of what happened to the Columbus statue and what Jesus did in the temple. Someone tell me one difference. But I can tell you the difference. Jesus didn't get locked up for it. But not only did he go in there and turn over their tables and break up the place and grab a cord and start whipping people, he felt that it was a time to stand up. And change only comes when there's people who decide to get radical. Tell me what's the difference in what happened to the Columbus statue and what happened with the Boston Tea Party. The tea didn't belong to them. That was someone else's tea. And they decided to go in there, break up them barrels and throw them over in the lake, in the ocean. Someone tell me the difference. Tell me. So I need one person. I'm looking. All right, just one person. Tell me the difference. All those persons who's commenting saying that what he allegedly did is criminal. Someone tell me the difference with what he did, or what was done to Columbus statue, I should say. Tell me the difference, and what Finland did when he grabbed the mace, broke the law by grabbing the mace, and Malo Butler grabbing the hourglass and throwing it outside of the House of Assembly onto the ground, damaging the people's mace. One person tell me the difference, please. I can sit down and wait. Let me look. Anyone? Someone tell me the difference in Mahatma Gandhi hearing that there's a new law that only foreigners can make salt in India. And he said, yeah, well, I go into the ocean and I can make salt. Lock me up. Someone tell me the difference. I am tired of sheepish behaviors, and the reason we get abused in this country is because we are sheep. That's why they keep running over us and treating us the way they treat us, because we're going to continue to be cowards and just do whatever our party says to do and toe in party lines. Whatever our party stance is, we're just going to argue that stance. We have to stand up for once in this country so that we stop getting abused in this country. They run over us left, right, and center in this country. All this illegal stuff that they're doing on a daily basis. On a daily basis. All right, what is the difference between Martin Luther King saying, oh, we can't eat in a restaurant, but we're going to go eat in this restaurant, lock us up? What's the difference? What's the difference with what happened to Columbus statue and what happened when Martin Luther King said, well, we're going to block this bridge and no cars are going to pass on this, and you have to break us up and kill us for this bridge to continue? What is the difference? Well, the difference is those people spark revolutions that bring change. Bahamians are cowards. We sit down and beat up our gums. And we sit down and beat up typewriters and vilify people who want to stand up for change. That is what we do. That is what we do. And that's why we never get anywhere in this country. We're always the last to progress. We were the last in this region to get independence. Why? Bunch of cowards. And Finland had to lie to us to get that to happen. Because he knew if he had said it, we would have cowered. Right before election, they asked Finland, are you going to go to independence? He said, no, we're not interested in independence. And then he won an election and then did it. And he had to do that because he know that Bahamians are cowards. They don't like change. They're fearful. Oh, what is the Queen going to say? How could we just leave the Queen? We don't have an army. Who's going to fight for us? All of the excuses they were bringing up at the time. All of these excuses. We need to learn to stand up, Bahamas. That is why our children can get abused. That is why you can get kicked off of your job after being there for so long. I am sitting down in my office every day, seeing people all day, every day who are being abused in this country. And there's one reason: we don't stand up. They're taking people's lands. Thousands of acres they're taking from Bahamians and giving it away to foreigners. Why? Because we sit down and we let politics divide us. That is what we do. We are cowards, and we need to rise up as a country. It's time to rise up. Now, in Barbados, they're talking about well, not talking about, they didn't talk it. I mean, a woman, a female prime minister came and said, okay, that's enough for the Queen, eh? I'm a woman, she's a woman, that's it, that's done. All right, we ended that. And just like that, boom, no long talks, no running on, that's over. And we can have our own heroes. And if we want Rihanna to be our hero, she's going to be our hero. One and done. Queen, thank you, get lost. That is what she said. All right, not literally. But they made a change. Now, I heard a statement from Fred Micheal. Oh, one day we're going to be independent. What do you call it? A republic. You know, we've wanted this for a long time. You know, you are a coward, Fred Micheal. Every single member of parliament that has sat there and not even tried to make a move towards us becoming a republic is a coward. We need a country for Bahamians. We are not subjects. Every member of parliament who has stood in that House of Assembly and allowed a law to continue. Boy, I know why they didn't want me in the House. Allowed a law to continue where anyone else can gamble in this country in the casino, but only a Bahamian. They made it illegal to be a Bahamian. Do you understand that law? That the only thing you would be arrested for is because you're Bahamian. Not that the thing you're doing is right or wrong, you know. Not that gambling in the casino is right or wrong. No, that gambling while being Bahamian is wrong. Do you all understand that? In our country, Mahatma Gandhi had to go through that. He said what? We can't make salt if you're Indian, and that's our number one industry in our country. He said, no, lock me up, please. No, I go to jail. And they're just going to let him go. He said, no, don't let me go. I go to jail. They sentenced him to 6 years. But guess what? That law changed. That law changed because he stood up. And he said, no, give me no break. No, in fact, he said, me, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of making salt while being an Indian. That is what they do to us. And we sit down, and this is the only country that would allow something like that to happen. A nation of sheep. And you know what you do with sheep? You fleece them, you take everything off them, and you make yourself warm and leave them in the cold. You fleece them. Someone talked about the story of the shepherd, and they use that example of how much the shepherd loved the sheep. Let me tell you something. The shepherd don't love the sheep. The shepherd fleeces the sheep. And then guess what he do to the sheep? Eat him. That's what happens to sheep. You get fleeced, and then you get eaten. And that's what has been happening to this country for years. Because we will not stand up. And whenever someone has the gall or guts to stand up, we condemn them. Oh, you got to respect authority. Authority has to respect us. The people are the authority. On see, they get screenshot this is I was doing the PLP sign. I've been doing this when I was a boy, and I know PLP. The people are the authority. That is who rules. In a democracy, it is the rule of the people. The chair has to respect the people. The chair is working for the people. I'm seeing these people having arguments in the House of Assembly about who is authority and who is in charge, and this chair is in charge, and the MP shouldn't have nothing to say. Let me tell you something. The MPs must respect the chair. Stop making things about male and female. All right? That has nothing to do with male and female. The MPs are supposed to respect the chair, but the chair is supposed to respect the MPs. Do you know who the MPs represent? The owners of this country. They represent the constituents. Let's not get this twisted. Yes, we need order in that house, but that chair is there representing the members of parliament in the house. That's who she is refereeing. That's what she is presiding over them. But they represent the people, and so they must be respected, and they have a right to protest anything that they don't believe in. What kind of country you living in when you can't laugh? What kind of nation is this? You can't laugh in the House of Assembly? You can't laugh? I'm not giving them right for other things that they've done, but come on, man. Respect has to go both ways. You all get it together in our house. They accuse this man, that's what I'm saying clearly. They accuse this man of doing something to the statue. Now, what I heard him come here and say is very interesting. That statue, he's not talking about whether he did it or didn't do it or right or wrong, none of that. That statue represents evil. Would you put a statue of a drug dealer on a park? Tell me. A murderer and a killer, a robber and a rapist. Would you put a statue of them in the park? Nighty Knowles, convicted. Would you? He did a lot for people in Rock Russia. He did some good stuff. He did, man, he went to school starting open. He would, unleash, the floodgates. Buy books and help with this and help with that. But would you put a statue of Nighty Knowles in the Rock Russia area? Government in the park in Rock Russia? I want you to take this in perspective. And this is why the Columbus statue is being attacked all over the world. And they were breaking it down. And the government, instead of doing what we did, would tell us, leave them people alone. Yeah? Not one soul was arrested as they were breaking down the Columbus statues all over America and around the world. Not one was arrested. Only in Sheepland, the Bahamas, someone was arrested. Do you, listen, I've been to Germany. And you know what I was looking for when I went to Germany? One statue of Hitler or any of his generals. You think they put a statue of Hitler in Germany? But that's where he's from. He built up the country. He do something wrong to some people, but he built up the country. You think they'll put a statue of him there? No? So why is a statue of Columbus on our government square? On Government House? Why? Now you tell me why. Yeah. Why would we be in this situation?
It's because of the lies taught us in school. Until the age of the internet, where we had more information, we were just taught a short story, the Nina Pinter and Son. And after we were taught the short story of the Nina Pinter and Son, we just used to celebrate Columbus Day. So we looked at him as a hero. And as time passed, the internet gave us more information where we could get a full detailed story to realize some of the inhumane things Christopher Columbus did. It's insane to say, well, why is this statue here with him? But I remembered, because my education in school, I remember it was not so much of a story of Christopher Columbus and down to even the Arawaks, and it was very short history of those people. But if you find the real name, the true name of the Bahamas, which is Kamatari, which was changed by Christopher Columbus, when you find that true name, you find more detail in history of your land. And it's just sad that we as the people who got the first lie or the very highly edited story of Christopher Columbus, some of us still believe that story and don't know the truth. So there are some people who are not going to see the act what they did as something righteous. And then there are people who sit down, who educate themselves to say, well, hey, it's about time. So it's very, I can't say one-sided. It's very even in ways it looks, and then it's just about people educating themselves to see the full story of Christopher Columbus.
All right. So someone wants to ask a question. Any question? Oh, someone asked me, you sober when
Of course, I was on water, as you can see what was in my hand in the video of
you just drink, but you didn't drink.
No,
that.
I don't drink.
You don't drink?
No, I don't bother with them like that.
What? You don't bother with rum?
Listen,
people said you was a drug head, you was a drunk, you was crazy, all this stuff. You are regular behavior?
Yes. And how can I say this? When you have a calling over your life, or when you can say that you know the power of your purpose, once you find out your purpose in life, there's things which you're going to do to make that happen. And because I knew my purpose from learning certain esoteric knowledge books, I was able to know what I had to do to rise towards my purpose. And it's just yeah, this is what the teachers what I got from it. Correct. Like I'm literally continuing and finishing his teachings.
So you studied Miles Monroe?
Yes, all of it. Like I've completed all of his teachings about the philosophies of the natural laws, which is something what you can say I did, an act of righteousness. So because I've done this, I knew I wouldn't say I knew my destiny, but this is one of the reasons why my mother thought I was crazy, because I was speaking in future tense, telling them, well, I'm going to be a national hero and I'm going to have to do this act and right then she thought I was crazy. But because I knew my purpose, I was speaking ahead of time. So now that it's happened and she can see it and we can see, it's just about stepping into your purpose and continuing the works what I was passed the baton to finish. Basically,
you sound like Joseph. This man thought he was crazy too. He was speaking in future.
Yeah, and it was a lot of them. Moses also, because he used to stammer. So when it's time to give a message, people who are here to give that message, you're gonna look at and be laughed at first, and they're not gonna think it's real or it's true. But that's why I'm here, because through my belief, it's gonna make people believe even more that one man can make a difference. Because drug addict or alcoholic, somebody made a difference or somebody made a stance, and it shows that in the world people saw that stance, and in the Bahamas people saw that stance, and little children saw that, okay, in society maybe I can really do something to make a change or to make a start of the change. And because of that, that's all it takes. All it takes is a spark. And then as a people, that one spark, we could come together and we could accomplish, like, it just don't have to be a national hero, because this is a time when we as a society, as a community, we can make history for an era. So history in the past is gone. You accomplish something now what has never been done, and you could accomplish a history or a historical moment for eras and for your children to sit down and your grandchildren to see, and they could read upon and realize that, hey, my granddad is still here and he did that, and you could see pictures, like it would be nice. So, and we can do it. It's just that we all have to be willing to, I wouldn't say go to extent to getting locked up, but you have to take something in the heart and say, this could be greater than me, because we still have our children, still have your family and your friends, and they're still growing up, and people still have dreams and goals. And if we literally sell everything, like the people who are here, yeah, it's nice as foreigners, yeah, we have tourism, but if we sell everything, what would you have for you at the end of the day?
Wow. And that's exactly what's happening. We can talk a little bit more about that as we go. To me, Columbus represents what has continued in this country up to this day. And the symbolism, I think, has brought strength to that. You know, they have that statue of them. They made the statue a full white statue, right? A full all white statue. All right. They didn't make what's his name? Milo Butler a full white statue. You know, they made him a bronze. The bronze, they made him a bronze statue. Because that the statue, what they made him out of, can't think of road. You know, they made him full statue, and he represents foreigner coming to your land and benefiting from what belongs to you. The first thing, talk about God, first thing God always gives the people is land. And what's in the land. It's called their natural resources, including the land. That land is for that people to benefit from. Everyone gets theirs. When they did when the children of Israel went into the promised land, the first thing they got was land. They divvied up the land to everybody. Everyone got a share. They didn't have to work for it, didn't have to pay for it. Everyone got their acreage. They called them lots. Why we call properties lots today is because the children of Israel went into the land and everyone got their lot. Why do they call it a lot? Because they cast lots to get it. They said they cast it. A lot was a disc, all right, a flat disc that the priest carried on their clothes. It was a pocket, special pocket for it. They took it out. They would flip it to the side what thus said the Lord. All right, and they flipped it and they said, okay, you get this piece of property over there, you get that piece of property over there. And they made sure everyone got a piece of the land. Why we can't get a piece of our land? But it represents, Columbus represents the fact that the foreigners come in, take advantage of us, benefit from our land, and we get nothing. We get jobs that are not secure and jobs that constantly go away. All right. Is there a last thing that you want to say to the Bahamian people? I'm going to let them ask you a couple of questions, but is there something you want to say to them as a people?
As a people, I'd like to thank support, and I'm thank you for my parents. Really like to thank Dawn because she even lost her father during like while she was dealing with my trial, so it was a lot on her. And to like really thank my some of my family members who supported me and what I was going through and my dreams. And as the Bahamian people, you know, I feel as if as a human being and as a person, just how Jesus could have walked that with the cross and make a change in the difference, and what he did, it's the same way how one man could make a difference. So imagine if it's more than one man. Two heads are better than one. Just have one head. So you know, if we could come together and just accomplish one thing, if one thing we accomplish and you could see the change from one thing we could accomplish, just by making a stance of righteousness, you would see how far we would get as a nation. You understand? That's all what it takes, you know. Like, you realize that it's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Now that you see that if the village doesn't raise the child could go there and make major destruction like what I did. So, and that one thing what that child did, it caused a problem, or you can say it caused a change in the world or inside their land. So from what you see, a village can be raised or used to raise a child. It's the same thing as you can say, as if all of us come together as a nation to accomplish something, we can accomplish it. We are a nation without the House of Assembly, but the House of Assembly is nothing without a nation. So it basically is about you as a person. If we tired of seeing something, and this is in the natural laws. The natural laws teach us as we as a people, if we are tired of seeing the lies and the corruption of our government leaders, that we can make a change to make our own laws and to put people who are in place who we feel as if can secure our future. This is in natural laws. This is not just man laws. This is God laws, where any man in your community, rich, poor, high in society, social statuses, but we can all have a state where one man who might be rich idea might be great, but then there might be somebody idea who would totally surpass anything what he thought about. That it would be a point where the man who's nobody can lead your country by his knowledge just because you thought he couldn't give you any type of information or anything to send you further into evolution through your society. You find there's a nobody who's able to do it. That's why everybody's voice matters. It doesn't matter if you vote. Your voice matters as long as you're alive and you're breathing God's bread on earth. So basically, if we as a nation can look past ourselves, because all us could be heroes, all us could be the people who we read about. It's just about coming together. That's simple. They could lock me up, but a society, they can't hold all of us as a society if we see something wrong and we do something about it.
I love that. I love that. This is the gentleman. Sometimes you have to sit down and talk to people before you judge them. I'm sure that you can now hear this is a very intelligent man. You're not the first person in this country who was accused of doing something to a statue. There was also another young man who's a lawyer. He was just about to cross over and get called to the bar. And he just couldn't take it anymore. And he took a red can of paint. His name is, what's his name? Alex Morley. Right? He's an attorney. That's the Rasta. That's the one of the Rasta. Alex Morley went to, we got to get this plugged in. Alex Morley went to the Queen statue on his lunch break with a whole bucket of paint and just threw red paint all over the statue. And so they arrested him, but they let it go. And he fixed the statue, all right, which I think was appropriate in that case. All right, so you weren't the first who was accused. Alex Morley did that to the Queen statue, and they cleaned it up and made sure they stayed there. Alex, why didn't you have a sledgehammer? You went there with paint, Alex. Come on, Alex. But Alex was a very intelligent person. They thought again that this was some crazy person. No, Alex just said, we're tired of this oppression in this country. He went to law school, like myself, and he studied the law. He knew the law, and he decided no more of this oppression. And he's a very intelligent young man. Again, he passed the bar, and he just threw some paint on that and caused him to cover it up for a period of time while they were fixing it. And then they made him pay it, and that was it. They didn't put anything on his record. Otherwise, he would not have been able to become a lawyer because he would have had a record. So they gave him a break as a young man, and they helped him out. I hope that God smiles on you, and the people are now able to see who you are, why you're taking that stance, and they are able to see moving forward in the future exactly what you're about and what you believe in. Right? So I want you to stay here with me because we're going to talk about a couple other things. So don't go anywhere yet, because I want to talk about shock treatment. And as a young man, I want to get your stance on that. The process of embarrassing the young men, putting them on TV in front of everyone and watching them get talked to like dogs in front of the whole world. And, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. And you have to tell me what y'all think about that as a people. And then we can go from there. All right? C. Alan Johnson made a comment. He said, destroying a statue is not heroism. Presenting an argument that convinces people of the need for that change shows leadership ability. You asking to lead anybody? You just decided to take a stand, right? All right, so he's not looking to lead anybody. He decided to take a stance, and that's what he did. All right? And like I said, maybe you tuned in late, C. Alan Johnson, but we need more Bahamians to have more courage. Change only comes when someone takes a stand, a radical stand. There's never, ever been change in this world without someone taking a stance. And most of the time, being arrested, being on the other side of the law for their stance. You couldn't even, I don't know if you believe in God, but Christ had to have been arrested. Paul and Peter and all of them had to have been arrested, taking a stand for what they believe in. We believe in this gospel. You all say it's a cult. We can do what we have to do. All right? You got to take a stand. And that's what he decided to do. And what it did was it caused us to have the conversation, C. Alan Johnson. It caused us to have the conversation. We wouldn't have been talking about this now. People were talking about it. People were remembering Columbus. It wasn't just being ignored. Now there's a conversation of do we fix it or do we get rid of it? CLP government I know that believes you know, in our people and our heritage, I don't think they can fix that statue. I will be very surprised. Fred Micheal, if you let that statue get fixed, I will be very surprised at you, Fred Micheal. That don't stand for what you stand for. Brave Davis, if you fix that statue, you all go put that in one museum somewhere, broke up just as it is. And let it be that kind of memory. That's what it needs to be. So that's for C. Allen Johnson. So for every one of the people who are armchair politicians and armchair leaders who believe that talking brings change, talking has never brought change in the history of this world. When Moses wanted to get those children of Israel, he had to torture Pharaoh. He just gonna talk to Pharaoh, you know. He said, Pharaoh, you let my people go or not? Okay, watch tonight. Come back, all right? I didn't deal with you. You could let my people go or what? Okay, watch tonight. You let my people go or what? Okay, what should happen? All the firstborn sons, they can be in front. He tormented. He took a stand. And then he came back and Pharaoh said, listen, I ain't messing with you no more. Carry your people. And then what happened? He had to wipe out Pharaoh's army with the Red Sea. There's never, C. Allen Johnson, you are someone I considered a near genius. Give me an example of when change, real change, happened in this world without radical stance. Tell me one instance when it happened. Just one. I ain't saying tell me a whole, let's just find one. I'll be happy with that. Let's give him a few minutes, a few seconds, sorry. One instance, C. Allen Johnson. One instance. Real change, radical change. Tell me when it happened. No? 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 The chairman just said from another side of the camera, freedom is never given. It's always taken. No one is going to give you freedom. They freed the slaves, they had to fight for that. Slaves had to escape and help fight. They had to fight for that. There was a world war, not a world war, there was a war, a civil war for the slaves to be free. And it's convoluted conversation, but no single instance you speak of. I challenge you to name one beyond the talk around. I don't even understand what he just said. Let me read that again. That is a convoluted conversation. Let me say it again. But no single instance you speak of. So there's no single instance of when it happened. So you're agreeing with me. I challenge you to name one beyond the talk around. I don't understand that part.
So he's trying to tell you could name one beyond what we're talking about now, which he can't find any. So he asking you, who know where?
I hope that's what he's saying, because he's speaking in a different language. But I just wanted to put that there. All right. We need to stop being cowards. That's one of the biggest problems in this country. It's cowardice. And we live in fear. Fear of these leaders who are actually cowards. When that lockdown happened, when ministers did not give us a day's notice, when the national security minister right now said he didn't have water in his house because he was busy, he didn't get to go for water. He said he didn't have water in his house. That's Wayne Monroe. He said it publicly. Ministers locked down the whole country. You know how that lockdown stopped? Because some Bahamians, including our chairman and others, went out there and said, y'all have to lock us up. They went on Windsor Park and they said, lock us up. And the people out there in our community grab rock and bottle and throw it at the police cars. And ministers came back and said, hey, I open it up, eh? If they didn't do that, where would we have been? In lockdown. People might have starved. It was locking us down, I think, for a week. There were people with no water. It was a full lockdown. Nothing. No food store, no nothing. Only because some people stood up. So I'm tired of hearing the cowardice excuses and what. Listen, sometimes the law is wrong. And Martin Luther King said that himself. He said there are good laws and there are evil laws. And we have a duty as a people to disobey evil laws. He said at the letter from Birmingham jail, he said, we have a duty to disobey unjust laws, is what he called it. Just laws and unjust laws. We have to learn to stand up. That's all. We read the letter from Birmingham jail. He was writing that to his critics, who was the church. He was a pastor. Why are you doing this stuff? Y'all don't order as much as y'all praise Martin Luther King now. In his day, they were speaking about him like how they speak about you. Everything you're doing is illegal, is wrong. You shouldn't do it. You're supposed to be a pastor. You know what he do? He quit. He said, like, where is the pastor? Because what I do when I do it for God. He said, I quit. But he wrote them a letter and told them that we have to stand up for what is right. And they told him that everything that he is doing is wrong and he's out of order and is a weird thing. He said, I don't normally answer my dejectors, but because of who you all are, men of God, I can answer you all. And he wrote the letter from Birmingham jail. Go and read it. There's a time for everything under the face of the sun, including the time to kill. So would there be a time to break a statue? There's a time to kill, the Bible says. So is there a time to go in the temple and tie up a cord and whip people and turn it over? Cowards is why this country is a state. People who are afraid to lose their little jobs, they can't protest. But I need contract. Need contract. I need to get a little $1,800 a month contract. I just want to segue there. I just have a brief update on the situation. The court case went on a couple of days last week. I didn't come back to you. The lawyer for it, and again, I respect the lawyer a lot. He's a good fellow, so I don't want y'all to think that I am attacking him in any way. I think he's a little offended that I've been talking, about this. But he's Bijan Ferguson, good young man who has done some cases for people, helping people out. Him and a couple other lawyers. They helped out. They paid the fine for the young man who, was locked up selling coconut water. No. Who had, I think he'd gone out for water to drink, something like that. And they helped that young man. And so, they've done some good things, So I don't want you to think I'm attacking the young man on this Bella case, but we got to stand up for what's right. We got to stand up for what's right. And so any one of us, I can make a mistake. Now, I'm not going to tell no one they can't talk to me. I don't never judge no one who talks to me. I don't even correct them. Because I can make mistakes too. None of us are perfect. And so I could do a million right things and then do a wrong thing. And then people should tell me. I will tell you, me. Someone like the person who murdered, what's his name? Sorry. You see, when I talk about these kind of cases, it really murdered Marco Archer, and he was represented by Wayne Monroe. Watch this pattern here. Murdered Marco Archer and was represented by Wayne Monroe, the murderer. Now, the same person who represented that murderer is the person who's supposed to implement the Marco Archer system and the sexual offenders register. And immediately you see him stenching. Did we make a mistake by putting someone who has defended criminals all their life to defend us against criminals? Did we make a mistake in doing that? I want you all to think. Wayne Monroe is my boy. Be cool. I just been to his office this week to visit him. We had an official visit. Did we make a mistake? Because now all of a sudden, y'all, all of a sudden, the sexual offenders register. We don't need to say that. In fact, we might. I think we have the press conference on that. Let's play that for the Bayman people. Let's play that. The press conference on the sexual offenders register. Do we have that? Producer, tell me if we have it or not. I want them to see it. Okay, they have the picture. They don't have the actual video. You're supposed to have the video for you. I wanted y'all to hear that out of their mouth. What is this? This is the this the shock treatment. I don't want to see that picture. I'm talking about the press conference where he was interviewed and he was asked about not shock treatment. Take that off. Take it off. I'm not talking about that yet. The interview where they asked him about it, and he started making excuses for why we're now not going to make this thing public. That we should not have a sexual offenders register because there could be retaliation against people. That was their excuse. So now you're defending the criminals. So they're saying that some of their argument is that it isn't going to help just to know who they are. He said, they have police record. Well, when that child molester is dating my sister or my daughter who's a single mother, who has a child in their house, how I get their police record? So we must all go around asking for police record now? Recent countries around the world put sexual offenders registers in place because studies have shown that most of these persons who commit these crimes, they continue to commit them. They seem to be incorrigible for the most part, and they continue these crimes. That's what they determine. And so that is why they feel it must happen. You should know if a child molester is living next door and your children are out in the yard playing. You should know that. And you should be freely able to see that freely. And in the US, I go online right now and I could look up any sexual molester. And I could look up any person right now. I could do it in front of you. I could look up any person in the United States of America and I could see all of the sexual offenders who live around them. Right now. Right now. Every single sexual offender who lives around them, I'll be able to see. In fact, give me the name of someone in America. Let me pull up their records. I'll do that for you. Right line. I'll show you how easy this is. Let me do that for you. I'll pull them up. I'll pull their name up. Give me a name of a celebrity. Someone you know. Anyone you want me to check in America. I'm going to show you how the sexual offenders register works. You can find this information about anyone so that when you're going to buy a new house, you can find out from that house if you have sexual offenders living around you. So that you don't want your children to grow up around them. And you can see their record. Court is public. The records are public. So if someone want to retaliate, they can retaliate. They'll see him when he was locked up. So what are you protecting, Wayne Monroe? Why are you protecting the criminals all of a sudden? We put you there to work for us. But we are seeing something strange happening already. Internet slow, man. Internet slow. I really want y'all to see that. They're trying to sign in. I want y'all to see this. I'm going to put this up for y'all if the internet cooperates. Telling me be patient. Telling me be patient. All right. Give me a name. Give me a name of someone in America. Anyone. A famous person. The first thing, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, dead, man. Bill Cosby, half dead. Give me the name of someone. All right. And I didn't say famous people because I don't want to pull up no regular people.
Yeah.
Someone said R. Kelly. What R. Kelly? What the R stand for?
I guess it's gonna ask that.
Robert Kelly. They two common names. You can put up so much people. Robert Kelly. So they wanted me to pull up. Okay, Robert Kelly. That's his real name. Robert Kelly. Where he lives? Where Robert Kelly lives? It don't matter. I could just search. Okay, let me search. How old Robert Kelly is? You know? No? Okay. He's 57 years old, you think? This person lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Rapids City. No. Yeah, he live in no Robert Kelly. Y'all find someone else who don't have a common name like that, man. Because these people can't be here. Okay. Let's look this up. All right. That's because that's too common names. I could show you. I could use one of these people's names, but I don't want to put regular people up. You name Robert S. Kelly? Okay, let's see. Robert Sylvester Kelly. Man, this they got about 1 billion Robert Kellys in here. No. That's too much. Robert Sylvester. Okay. Now we can search Chicago, Illinois. That's really give me this complicated. Why are they all up in R. Kelly business, man? Robert Kelly. Where you live? Illinois. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So we're just doing a little search. Robert L. Listen, you got plenty of them. Listen. Frank Ocean? Who's Frank Ocean? Y'all gonna make me pull up. He's still alive? Robert S. Kelly, 54, Chicago, Illinois. I got him. All right, so we got Robert S. Kelly, Chicago, Illinois. I pull him up. All right, so I'm gonna pull him up. Coming up right now. Internet just did slow because we all over it. We got so much devices on it. It's coming right now. Just give me a second. All right, there we go. All right, so oh Lord, text me so busy looking up Kelly. Oh boy, I'm pressing all kind of wrong stuff. I'm sorry. Let me just turn the camera around for y'all quickly. Oops, I turned it off. Let me just turn the camera around. I'm sorry. We can turn it around in a second. Just give me a sec. Okay, that's the next camera. There we go. So we just turn the camera around. All right, so we just turned the camera around. And so they just told me to go with Robert S. Kelly, and this is him. So that's Robert S. Kelly, 54 years old. That's his, oh God, I didn't want to put his address. But anyway, he's a public figure. So all of his information is there. And I normally do searches with all kind of people. But I want to go down to the relevant one. So this could show you all his criminal records, everything that he has allegedly done, you know. Everything he's been charged with, so that's all his criminal records, everything there. See, this all the conduct, all kind of stuff here. Oh my God, I can show you all them. Oh, they got his face and all. All right, they got his face and all. All right, that looks like him. That looks like him. All right, so all his stuff is there. All of his financial information is there. All right, it's public stuff. All right, liens, any liens that was on him. Oh, it's a big lien. What is that? 1.9 million in lien. Oh, there's a tax lien. All right, so all this information is there. I just wanted to show you that, right? But this is assets, right? So they're showing you all of his assets, all the houses he have, wherever he have it, his car. Yeah, that's his car. And down here, sex offenders. So they're giving his address. That's his address. And they're showing you all the sex offenders around him. They're showing you where they are. Look. All, not just they showing you on the map so you could find where they live, right? That's some of the sexual offenders live around him. And see here, they have all the information. Okay, all of them know. Everyone, anyone name you put in here, they'll show you the sexual offender's name that lived around them. So see here, so all these sexual offenders,
and they have them here. This is public. It's public information. All right, these are sexual offenders who live around him. This is just an example of him. I could say a few more sexual offenders. This is public information. All right, so they have all these sexual offenders, and they say what they was charged for. See, aggravated criminal abuse, etc. For that person. Very much. Sorry, I'm showing the top. See, aggravated criminal. They show what they for, and then I can see details. See, if I want to see the details of what they did, the details is right here. You see, the details. I can pull that down. They show his name. They show what he did. They show his height. Make sure you get the right person. They show up how much he weighed. Ethnicity. They say white. All right, I show them the right thing here, right here. So all of the information is right there. Aggravated criminal, and they show you the code, the offense. You go look it up. You could now go look at this person and view their background report. And so all of this is public. See, I don't understand why. Question?
Yeah, so basically, Wayne Monroe stated in an interview that the details of what happened to Bella is not important. Now, I might have misquoted, but here we have a sexual offenders registry stating details of what these people did. Why is it in our country? Because I just did my research. There are multiple sexual registry out there in other countries. What happened to the Bahamas? Our country has less than 400,000 people in it. Why can't we have one of those?
Yeah, it's because, and I just wanted you all to see this, Bahamas, and I could do this. I could search anybody, any single person in America, and I can literally see all the sexual offenders who live around their address. This ain't even a sexual offenders list, There's a search about that individual. And in that search, you can find all the sexual offenders who live around them. Why the secrecy? You don't want going after them to kill them. That's someone who made a mistake. But the people need to know if they are living next to these people, if they're dating these people. Can you imagine you dating a young man and he was locked up for raping someone else and being them keeping that secret? And you bringing them in your house with your child? And we and them see the need to keep that secret because they are so fixated, and I'm going to turn the camera around now. They're so fixated on protecting criminals. Wayne, there's a time you got to shift, man. You got to shift. I know you are a defense lawyer, and you were the best. I always tell you, you were the Michael Jordan of law in this country. You was good at what you do. But there's a time you gotta shift. There's a time to shift. There's a time for everything under the face of the sun. And you gotta let go of that. Y'all come up with this, please. You gotta let go of defending the criminals and go in the mode to protect the Bahamas. All these excuses about, in other jurisdictions, persons said that they were being, there was revenge taken against them, and so they would remove them from the sexual offenders list. Perfect. Come on. With the amount, we are #1 in rapes in the region. This can't be happening to our women and daughters and children. Imagine how much don't get reported. How many women watching this right now raped and never reported it? Will it be a deterrent? Someone says it won't be a deterrent. It won't be a deterrent because they could still go there and do it again, because sometimes these people who are related to you, guess what? The reason people who are related to you get away with doing it, uncle, auntie, granddaddy, whatever, is because they keep it secret. That's why they get away. They keep it hush hush. Oh, granddaddy do what? Don't say that. Leave that alone. And granddaddy goes to the next one, the next one, the next one. Uncle goes to the next one and the next one, and they keep it hush hush. That's why it happens. And they realize that, and so that's why laws were put in place to stop that from happening around the world. And so we got to be courageous. And so you see, lawyers have to represent people. But let me tell you something. Whatever that fella name, I don't remember his name right now. I don't know why, because his name doesn't deserve to be repeated. Who molested, did something, Marco Watcher. I ain't representing him. Don't tell me he needs a lawyer. He have a right to the law. No. Go represent yourself. Yes, everyone does wrong, and people should be represented. But I'm just saying, for me, I ain't gonna represent the fella who raped and killed Marco Watcher. And now we put that lawyer to defend our nation. And now you're hearing the excuse, oh, no, we don't need no sexual offenders register. All excuses starting. Now Bella is in a situation where she was killed and allegedly raped. And now we see some funny business happening. Come on, Thomas. Come on. Come on. We got to defend our children. Women, I want to say this to you. The reason you all don't want to do the sexual offenders register is because of who will be on it. Powerful people could be on that. And that's why y'all don't want to do it. It seems nothing to do with none of the stuff y'all saying, because the stuff y'all saying don't make sense. It's because of who is going to be on that register. How you feel about this?
It's the truth.
You think they trying to cover for some powerful people?
Whenever you see some laws would benefit them fast as finger snipping, and it's always a problem because that's something would have to do with them covering something up.
Mm-hmm.
Putting more dirt under the carpet. We as the being the people, we've seen it all from.
Yeah. Listen, Wayne Monroe, you have a young child that is deaf and dumb, that lives in Pinewood Gardens, you. And I would have been fighting for that same deaf and dumb child, just like I'm fighting for Bella, and like I've fought the scores of other young children who have been abused. Imagine if your child is in that situation where someone abused them, but they can't speak. They can't say what happened to them. Wayne Monroe, you have a young child. Let's make sure that Bella gets all of the justice she's supposed to get. I mean, we do investigations, all right? So, Bajan, I'm going to say this to you as a lawyer. I know you have a job to do. But I feel something else going on, and you might be being used. I spoke up for your family just like this. You lost your brother, Pilot, Aaron Ferguson. That was your brother. And I spoke up and I tore the government to shreds. Over how they treated Bajan. And just like I defended you and your family, that's all I'm doing for Bella right now. That's all. And you wanted justice. And so the father, just like you wanted justice, when the government failed, when that amazing, talented, bright young man went down in that plane, when he didn't have to, when the rescuers could have been there on time, but they wasn't. They took an hour to get there after being called, and he was just a mile and a half from the airport. But John, just like I fought for Byron, your brother, that's all I'm fighting for Bella. I'm not fighting against you. But all I want is for justice to be done. Nothing personal. There's no hard feelings. Jean last week went in court and called my name and told the judge, oh, Lincoln Dean and the father is out there talking about this in the news. The father has been avoiding the news. He can't even take to talk about this. The man is shattered. His baby. Because of what happened to his baby. Every time he looks, he just sees it. That's all he thinks about. He just wants justice. And it seemed like all of a sudden, you were retained, Bijan, when the father said, and you got to understand why the family feels this way. Because the father said, I want a second autopsy. Now all of a sudden there's a fight over the body. You're an intelligent man. What does that sound like to you? There was no kick up, no fight over body, no discussion, you know. But all of a sudden, when the father said he wants a second autopsy, all of a sudden there's a fight over custody.
I say with this, but you can hear scary.
All right. And so I'm going to leave that there. But I guess he was expecting the judge to go after me because I'm talking about this. Listen, you all might as well lock me up because what happened to Bella? It ain't happened to no other child in this country no more. We need to stand up. We need to do something. We need to fix it. No, the sexual offenders register alone won't help, but it works together with everything else. Saying that it won't help is like saying that because, listen, there's 70% recidivism rate of prisoners. That means most of them is go right back. So that means you must stop prisons because it ain't gonna work. It ain't working. That means we must not prison. Prison is a waste of time. Stop finding people. When you find people, they still run the red light. They still don't wear a seatbelt. So you must stop it because of that. Does that make any sense? Do you hear how these people are fighting for the criminals? It's the same progressive liberal party who, you know, the FNM had put strict penalties on guns and firearms at one point. And yeah, he fought them. They fought them. And they say, oh, the sentence is too rough. Remember BJ Norton said that. The sentence is too rough. And we could get rid of them when we get it. They got it and they did. And guess what happened? Murder started skyrocketing. They got soft. This isn't to attack y'all. We are Bahamians. I'm a regular Bahamian. I'm standing up. It's a regular Bahamian who decided to stand up. We're not attacking y'all. We just tired of the same mess in this country. We're tired of the cover-ups. Who this man related to? Who is he related to? The fellow who did something to Bella allegedly. Who is he related to? That's the question. And let me tell you something. We can search and search until we find. Could he be related to a governor general? We can search and search until we find. I ain't gonna say nothing else but that. But we on it. I see my thing freezing up now all of a sudden. Okay, see my feed freezing up all of a sudden that they're talking about this. Now I want to segue from there to talk about why I really have to stay sitting here. And that's the shock treatment. Somehow, you know, they feel that, and I'm going to read some stats from elsewhere because, you know, the shock treatment, for those who don't know, is a program where you take the young men, you show them the prison, show them, you know, expose them to it, you make them do push-up, and you shout at them a little bit, and somehow that can stop them from being criminals. They believe it is going to shock them into living right. The FNM stopped it. Now, the man who started it in the Bahamas is a man who's been fighting for young people and has done a lot for young people, who's influenced a lot of young people, who's changed a lot of lives of young people. You can't take that from him. But the shock treatment itself, that's what we're talking about. Separate that from everything else. All right? Because I could cook a million good dinners and bake one cake, and I come out as dumb cake. So this ain't nothing to do with the judge. Carlos Reed has done an amazing job assisting young men in this country, helping them. This ain't nothing to do with that. It's about the shock treatment itself. You grew up in the Bahamas. Like all of us, you probably, did a couple little money things, right? Do you think that them shouting at you and showing you the prison will stop you from being bad?
No. In fact, I'm glad you talked to me about this because the shock treatment would be the worst thing you could do to young men today in society. If you look around, they shocked already. Murders every day. They watching people get killed on broad daylight. You could see it on any surveillance CCTV camera if you go on Facebook or YouTube. So shocking, it's not going to work. Today, most of the young men missing father figures and love and support, that when they find it from any person they run into on the streets, that's their father figure. So if that person end up murdering or robberies, then you will have another young man who go in the same path. So the shock treatment wouldn't be a good idea. It's like jail is basically like Harvard University right now.
It numbs them more than anything.
Yes,
it sensitizes them. It don't scare them.
You sending somebody to a place where they was hearing that if you go this place, then you are gonna be a more bad man than this person. So it's like you carrying somebody to college. It's like it's cool to be bad. This is what has been pushed on our generation, and you have to somehow drill that out of them, but not in the way you think you should. Because if you thinking some push-ups or carrying them to see inside a cell to change them, it's not. If you listen to the rap music or anything what they're into, this is what the music is influencing them to do. You understand? So a shock treatment would not be good. To go to prison and realize the conditions of some of the men what they are, yeah, it would be scary, but then some young children, the conditions they grow up in right now, just about the same as people who in jail.
Yeah. I actually want to read an article by Prison Legal News. This is actually a publication by them. This one is on this one actually came out on December 5th, 2021. So this is actually recent. So this just came out. Prison News. You're happy with this, please? Let me take that down so I can show them this. All right, they posted it there. But this is a study that was done in 2016. All right, 2016 is when the study was done. I just got to turn the camera around, so y'all can see it. So sorry about that. Let me on the software, things happen differently. So let me try that. Okay, hopefully that worked. Yes. So I hope you can just see this. I just wanted you to see some of this for credibility's sake. So this is from Prison Legal News, because they do studies on this. We don't really do stats in the Bahamas, and that's our problem. We just whatever whatever hits goes, and that's it. We just come and say, oh, this working, and we don't show any stats. Well, in the States, they don't operate kind of like that. You gotta show your returns. All right. So I'm just showing this. I don't know if you could read it well, but you could just go look it up. All right. Scared straight programs are, scared straight programs are counterproductive, is what it says. Scared straight programs are counterproductive. All right. So here we go. It says, sorry, I got to look over it to read it. The Pew Charitable Trust, a non-profit, non-governmental organization, recently reported on the mixed results of Scared Straight programs, which are intended to deter juveniles with a history of bad behavior from entering the criminal justice system by having them visit prisons or jails to see firsthand the consequences of breaking the law. Several studies maintain that such programs may actually increase the probability of offending by participating youths. I'll repeat that. Several studies, several, not one, several studies maintain that such programs may actually increase the probability of offending by participating youth. Dating from the 70s, scared straight programs advocating an in-your-face confrontational approach have long, let me make this bigger, have long been thought to benefit at-risk children. But a 2013 study by the Campbell collaboration found that participating juveniles committed 28% more crimes than non-participants. Mr. Lipsey at the Vanderbilt Institute for Public Policy Studies reached similar conclusions, stating flatly that scared straight programs do not work. That may be because poor decision-making, a lack of impulse control due to immaturity, anger problems, and substance abuse issues cannot be addressed by having adult prisoners scream threats at youth in an attempt to frighten them. All right, and they talked about all the studies here, the Department of Justice and all of them, what they said. So go and read it for yourself. It's not long, but I just don't want to take the time here to read the whole thing, but you can go and read it for yourself. Just Google it and you will see it. Turn the camera around. Yeah, just Google it and you will see the full thing. But according to their actual studies, they're saying that, listen, man, that thing based on their studies and actual statistics, it don't work. All right, that's what they're saying. So I know Carlos Reed is doing it. Some people are saying, things like he was singing, for somebody, and that's a reward by the PLP. That's a reward by the PLP. Pay him back for promoting them, etc. People are saying that kind of stuff. I will say that the Carlos Reed I know is someone who has been helping young people for a very long time. I won't get into all of that back and forth. But I will say this, as a police officer and a former police officer, I will tell you what I used to experience. They used to bring young people, like single mothers would bring young sons who they couldn't control into the station. Plus to cut their hair. We used to do it, pick up that big brown belt. Sometimes you scare them, shout at them, beat them. Those young men would be worse. You'd harden them. Because now after they realize, hold on, you was threatening me to go to the police before. And now after I go and I see it ain't that bad, and I get worse. I just don't care now. It didn't help. At one point, I decided to start talking with some of these young people and seeing what was going on. Males and females. That would be, in problem. And I realized that when you talk to them, you'll see that all they want is some love. I had a youth program for the last, from 2017 or so. And I realized that a lot of those young people that gave up on only wanted to find their purpose, And when you find their purpose for them, they are different human beings. I remember I was in primary school. There was a bully, and I was always a bully killer from kindergarten. If there was a bully, I could beat him up at some point, But because he was picking on someone in front of me, I could never stand to see people getting bullied and not do nothing. That was always my problem. All right, and I beat up this bully. He was of Haitian descent, and we beat him up. And so I beat him up, and so because I was like one of the star singers in the choir, and they didn't want to expel or punish me, whatever. They let the music teacher, one of only two men teachers in the school, talk to us. And it was like, Lincoln, why are you fighting? Because he was beating up so and so, and I couldn't stand to see him picking on that little skinny little fella. But Lincoln, you was a little skinny little fella too, yeah, but I could fight. And then he talked to the other fella, and he said, they always picking on me because I was a Haitian. And so before they pick on me, I could just beat them up so they wouldn't pick on me. That was his mindset. That because of his name, he was a Haitian. And he said, I'll just beat them up and they'll be scared to pick on me. And that was his mindset. He didn't know his place in the society. He didn't know where he was. And Mr. Robinson talking to him brought some things out. Mr. Robinson did one thing with him. He didn't punish him. He didn't beat him. He didn't punish me. He said, what you want to do with your life? You know, I like music, but I can't sing. I won't be in the choir, but I can't. He said, okay, I can put you in the choir. And he he found a Congo drum, and he gave the boy a Congo drum because he couldn't sing to be in the choir. And this boy was like a new human being. All the teachers, all the female teachers were talking about it. Like, wow. He turned out to be the sweetest young man when he found the purpose. He was good at that. Then he started learning how to put together the equipment and all that kind of stuff. And he found purpose and it changed him. A lot of our young men are distracted. Shouting at them ain't gonna help. He telling you that ain't gonna help. Showing them the prison ain't gonna help. You are actually giving them stripes by putting them on TV. You giving them street cred. Carlos understands street cred. Carlos Reed knows that. But it's a program that could put you out there. So I guess they feel you need to do it. Now, what I do advocate is a national program. There's some other stuff that we're supposed to get to that we didn't get to, right? Our natural resources, we wanted to show you some numbers and figures. We wanted to show you how to actually, how we could pay off that 2 billion debt due in 8 months, how we could pay it off. I was going to show you the exact numbers we put up next week. All right? Because brave them and listen to this again. We can actually pay off our national debt with our natural resources, and I can show you how. Right? So, but Finland want to do a national service program. Israel does it. All right? When you come out of school, you spend 2 years in there. I wouldn't say 2 years. I think every young man, 1 year. Only way out is if you get a full-time job, permanent job, or you go to college. In Israel, you can't even get no job when you graduate school. You go to a national service. And it teaches you discipline. One of the greatest things that happened to me in terms of discipline was the police force. That same 6 months training. Discipline. That changed my life. And I wouldn't replace that for the world. In fact, if I had to do life again, I might start with that. And I want to thank all of the persons at the police college who affected my life. One of them recently died. We call him affectionately Chick Roll. Boy, he was a drill sergeant. He was an inspector, but he was a drill sergeant. He was the man. Clean, neat, disciplinarian. We respected and we loved him. And now he's gone. Just want to say condolences to his family. But a national service program is what they should be considering. Finland talked about it many years. And so that's shock treatment nonsense. I don't see any stats where it worked before. In fact, one of the 6 men who died in Camp Road was a part of that program. And so we just like to find these things, but I challenge you. Help these young men find their purpose, like programs we wanted to put in place. Help them find their purpose and you'll watch a difference. And we'll spend more time to elaborate on that. But help them find some male role models to help them find their purpose and discipline them in that way. I participated in that and I saw the change. Carlos, you did. You saw the change. Carlos, you influenced my life. I was a young man growing up in Pinewood. A lot of my neighbors was rough. Some of them turned out to be killers and murderers, hitmen, robbers. I was growing up in a tough area. We coming around the program in VFM helped me to find purpose. Carlos, you never shouted at me or any else. You didn't shock us. You taught us about purpose. Dr. Miles taught us about purpose. And that's what changed our lives. Not seeing the prison. These fellas are already shocked. You know the communities they live in. You know what's happening around. I just wanted to say that. That's another way for the government to pump out a bunch of money that we don't need to be spending right now, but so be it. They say some experts was a part of it and that kind of stuff. And
you know, a chief justice agreed to let it happen. Listen, televising the abuse or discipline of children isn't legal as far as I know. All right, so that's a gray area. When you have a child who's been the victim of something or a child who is delinquent in any way, we're not supposed to publicize that. That's the law. So I don't know, you know, where we are with that. But there's more I could talk about with that. Someone says, Lincoln, I don't need any data, but most men that are in and out of prison aren't married. Married men are too busy taking care of our family. that's a good one. Young men need resources they can put time, energy, and ideas into. National service and the national service program are two different things. Just jump. Marie Doxson says, I am agreeing with you. Oh, she's talking to something else. She's responding to someone. So I'm agreeing with you. What about the national service? All right. So I'm going to take a few of your questions for a couple minutes. All right. A couple minutes. I can take a couple of your questions. I really want us to talk about our natural resources. We didn't get to that today. But guess what? These fellas distracting you with arguments in the House of Assembly, ministers acting like a fool in the House of Assembly, the other Minister of Health acting like a fool in the House of Assembly, minister telling the man to come right here and say that to me. You know, they're distracting you while we out there suffering. While, you know, we in debt. While this is going to be a black Christmas for a lot of people. People don't know how they can make it through this one. And now they're threatening to turn off your water, threatening to turn off your light. Gideon Bartlett says, Bahamas needs a reset. I agree. You're not going to get that reset with PLP or FNL. Brent Simonet has now put Michael Pintard in place. So Brent Simonet can continue with his power grab with the puppet in place. Brent Simonet never endorsed anyone. Not Ingram, not Eunice, not no one. All of a sudden, he come up, I won't Pintard, wake up Bahamas. The House of Assembly is full of puppets and puppet masters. Questions? I'm going to take some questions. All right? Just wait for them to come through. All right, so while they're distracting you with all this nonsense they're running on with the house, nothing is happening. Nothing. Wake up, Bahamas. Think you down. Mia. Yeah, I can do that right now. Okay, I think our video is down. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if we're still up. All right, so looks like it's still up. They telling me it's still up, but it's just frozen on my computer. We are living in the country right now where we've become a nation of beggars. This is the last thing I want you to see before I go. So I'm going to leave you with this, actually. Our Prime Minister went and read a speech to the COP26, begging. Oh, we need some money. We need some help. We do not have to be a nation of beggars. I, me, Lincoln Bain, a runaway slave. That's what I am. I'm here to tell you that I'm promoting a new Bahamas with a new kind of people who are not beggars. We will be the lenders, not the borrowers. We will have an overflow to give to others if we could only understand the power and the value of what we have. And you need to stop letting them fool you into thinking that what we have is valued nothing and worth nothing. So while our Prime Minister went, and I took that as an embarrassment, begging the foreign nations, we are sitting down on trillions of dollars of natural resources. We're going to play a video. I run out of time. We can do it next week.
when we talk about our natural resources. I can show you how they could pay off all of our natural debt. I can show you next Sunday. If we're gonna have a real conversation, be here next Sunday. We could talk about our natural resources. By then, I might have catch up with Vaughn Miller. I might have to go to his house. Let's look at the hide. But we went there begging, like beggars. If our country is worth nothing, why are all of these foreigners coming here to invest? If it worth nothing, they wouldn't come here. No one invests in a place that's worth nothing. No one buys land in a place that's worth nothing. You can't give people land in a place that isn't valuable. I can't sell you land in the desert. Some people don't want family island land. Them family island properties, they like just bush because people just didn't want it because it didn't develop. But we have something valuable. We have valuable things, and that's why they're coming here. Wake up, Bahamas. And your prime minister went there begging, and people's like, oh, he spoke so nicely. No, he read from a piece of paper that someone wrote for him. There's a teleprompter in front of them. They have one here and one there. That's why you see them looking back and forth. And one there in the front. There's a teleprompter he read from. But while he was begging, watch this powerful woman. And I'm going to leave you with this. There's a powerful woman in the Caribbean who is the real leader of this Caribbean, who is taking a stand and making sure no one can disadvantage her people in her country. When she came to power, new prime minister, she found out foreign companies were paying foreigners more than they were paying Bajans, and she called a press conference 12 a.m., 1 a.m. in the morning. Everybody get here now. Every news station better be here, and I want these foreigners here. And she told them, no one is going to take advantage of Barbadians. The days of Barbadians being enslaved and disadvantaged is over. She took a stand, and she did it 1 o'clock in the morning to make sure they knew that she was serious with that. And she said, you honest man, don't come. It looks like we need a woman to run the Caribbean. Because these weak back, jelly back, no back men are sitting down and doing nothing. I'm seeing all of a sudden Crazy Thompson is talking in the House of Assembly about the Brave Davis administration is neglecting, is failing to do something about the Rand Memorial Hospital. Crazy, y'all was there for 4.5 years. Are you crazy? Why are they opening their mouths? Why is any F&M? Where are y'all going? They put Michael Pinto there, who's been a part of the problem for 5 years. Where are you going? Crazy, are you serious? Did you seriously get up in the House of Assembly and say that they are neglecting? They've been there for 2 months. And you saying they neglecting the Rand Memorial Hospital when you all been there for 5 years, 4.5 years? Because Bahamians stupid. So that means now you're trying to say that the Bahamians are the conks, so now that caused them to vote for us now. So we can neglect you. And it's our time to neglect the Bahamas. Bahamas, y'all ain't tired of this back and forth. And then ministers jump up and defended that, oh, when the Perry Christie administration before that didn't do nothing too. Like, minister, that was your answer? We need a new Bahamas. We need strong leadership. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to leave you with the voice of Micheal Motley. She's a leader. Some people say they don't want a woman to lead. Let me tell you something. This woman has been stronger than any man that we've had except for Bill. This woman has been strong. She didn't fold up to the foreigners like Hubert Ingram did. She didn't. She's not selling out their whole country and all the utilities and everything to the foreigners like Hubert Ingram did. She's not a weak jellyback like Perry Christie. Brave Davis came in. The first thing he had to deal with was Atlantis workers forcing their people their workers to take vaccines. And he said, well, they said they compromise. They just doing with the foreign. How could the foreign company tell our prime minister what? Man, listen. Bahamas, you have to wake up or not. So now BTC, owned by a foreigner, majority, Cable and Wireless, is saying every worker at BTC has to take the vaccine. BTC, that's what they're saying. And they said, and we have to be able to do, but I don't plan to play it. Their justification, here's a Shanique Miller show, was that we got to protect the workers and the staff at the place, at BTC. Buddy, let me help y'all. And y'all lose media. Every time they bring it up, y'all need to just say this. And the fact that y'all ain't saying this makes me suspicious of y'all. How are you protecting someone when you can still catch it, you can still catch the disease, and can still spread the disease? Why is that mandatory then? What are you protecting? That's like saying, okay, as a woman, I'm going to give you this contraceptive, but you could still get pregnant. Your pregnancy mightn't be too bad, but you can still get pregnant. You still get pregnant. And you still have to wear a condom when you have sex. Tell me that ain't the scenario. If they tell you, take this contraceptive, but you could still get pregnant, your pregnancy ain't gonna be too bad. It could be less bad. But you still gotta wear a condom when you take this contraceptive. How that makes sense to any intelligent human being is mind-blowing to me. Then they'll just bring up, oh, these people died, listen, and some of my family died, this and that, and yes, and we are so sorry that happened. But the vaccine, there's nothing to say. No, I don't want this video to get flagged because you don't have freedom of speech. We need a new social media. That's what Bahamians, just so we can be able to talk with whatever we want. But you all know what I was getting at. We've talked for long enough. I want to thank you for being here with me today. It's been a blessing. It was a pleasure meeting you. I fought for you, and I want you to make this clear to everybody. We came and we fought for you. We ain't asked you for nothing, one. Two, we ain't asked you who you vote for.
No.
And we ain't asked you to vote for us.
No.
We fought for you as a Bahamian.
Correct.
All right. And that is what we do. This is a movement for Bahamians. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for support. Y'all please join the movement. Come in tomorrow, come into our headquarters, join the movement. This is the movement for Bahamians. We want to fight for Bahamians. That's all we want. A country where we own, where we are number one. Finally, it's not going to happen in your new day, and it's not going to happen with Pintar. We need change in this country. Mia Motley, what's the difference in her speech and the speech the Bahamas gave begging? Well, please, come on, something. Mia Motley, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and see you next week.